I used to be Scarface's assistant, the rapper legend. Well, what I learned from him, what he told me was, if you're not crying when you're done writing, then you didn't write the right shit.
We went down the lazy river. This whole YouTube thing has kind of changed our lives. It's helped me to grow.
Hi everyone, my name is Shazak and I'm the founder of Visually Inspired Productions. I'm a director, a creator, a founder, and just all around creative person, and also the creator of this fun new series that I'm excited you're checking out called Creator Convos. The purpose of this is really to showcase diverse creatives who are doing amazing things and empower us. The first installment of Creator Convos happens to be with my friends, Terry and Carmen. They are a married couple who are creating individually and together, which I just find fascinating and amazing to be able to work together and also support each other through their own endeavors. Terry and I actually go back way back. We were friends in high school. We actually just finished a short film project called Take the Lead that we're hopefully taking to series. So I hope you find some inspiration in these two, and I appreciate you checking this out. How did you originally find your voice in your work?
Ooh,
That's a loaded.
that's a loaded one. Well, you know, as a writer, I always played around with writing. But I was in college one time and I was going through a rough period, and I wrote down I was in a lecture and I wasn't paying attention, and I wrote down every word that expressed how I felt. It was no order to it. It was basically a whole page or two of curse words and whatever. And then when I got out of class, I was like, oh, that felt good, you know? And so that opened me up as far as being able to express myself with words. And then I wanted to explore other avenues of figuring out the puzzle of putting words together to not only make me feel better, but express myself so others could kind of relate as well. So that started with the poetry, and then the poetry eventually fell into screenwriting.
For me, it was more of like, fake it till you make it. It was, I started acting and had a lot of insecurities. And also being in this industry, there's just, such standards of beauty and it was challenging to navigate all of that for me, especially when I didn't really fully understand myself. And having had trauma in my childhood and things like that, walking into rooms where you are literally being judged, from the moment you walk in. This is not something I was making up. I chose this profession, and I would walk in and be judged by my looks, by my speech, by my performance. And that was challenging, not only to find myself as a human being, but then as an actor, and then combining the two. So it took me like leaving and coming back and leaving and coming back and doing the work, really trying to understand myself and who I am, and also who and what I liked, not just what they liked and what they needed to see. How did I like myself? What weight does my body want to be? How do I like to wear my hair and my makeup and blah, blah, blah. All of these things I feel like have helped me to find my voice as a woman and as an artist.
I love that. That's beautiful. I'm like, two things. I'm like, I need you as my life coach. And like, no, and you kind of covered, actually, I was going to ask, but it feels like you kind of said it. Like, I think that there's this creative journey we go on, right? In the beginning of not being sure. And then now at some point, I just feel a little bit more confident in my decisions as an artist. Like, can you talk a little bit about that journey? I feel like, Carmen, you kind of covered it a little bit, but like, Terry, if you can talk about like maybe those first words you wrote down versus when you're writing scripts now, how that transition has been for you.
Well, as you know, because you helped me out with this many moons ago, uh, I used to be Scarface's assistant, the rapper legend. And so I used to hang with him a lot while he was in the studio and writing, and I would sit there and write as well. And well, what I learned from him, what he told me was, if you're not crying when you're done writing, then you didn't write the right shit. And so I was like, okay, that's a gem I got that was dropped on me, you know what I'm saying? So that's what took my writing to another level as far as um, putting all of me in stories, even in stories that on the surface it might not be something that I've been through or uh, that I've lived through. But if I put a little bit of myself in there, I believe that anybody who watches or reads it can relate to it and feel the realness inside of it. So like being around him was you couldn't put a price on how much that was an education, and that's one of the greatest hip hop writers of all time. So being able to have that intimate time with him, it just me and him in the studio, like for real. And it's like I see what he wrote, and I read it. Man, I got a long way to go. You know, I got a long way to go. This is almost 20 years ago. So yeah, I've always taken that mentality as far as whenever I write anything, just put all of me in there, and you know, there's usually some tears or just some blurry eyes or some emotion that it gets done with. It's like a release when I get done, and if I don't have that release, I know there's a lot more work to do.
I love that. And you talk about putting all of you in. Let's talk about how the travel like channel got started. How did you all come up with that idea to, I mean, just give me a little backstory. Hey, we're going to travel the world and like document it. Like, and when is the documentary coming out? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, yes. You can start.
Yeah, no, so we had gone to Mexico a couple times, late 2020 and a couple times in 2021, and the first couple trips, I was just recording on my iPhone and just playing around with it. And then one day I said, let me just see if I can put together, do a quick little edit. I mean, it was COVID, and you know, we were working on animation around the time, so and I just didn't have anything to do creatively when it came to filmmaking that I could just do that was tangible in my hands. So that was what was that's all I had. And so when I put it together, I was like, this looks it's kind of cool. I kind of found the narrative in each story, um, or each episode, and you know, that was the birth of it. They weren't in because when we were filming, we weren't intending to release it or make it a show. It was
And we hadn't come up with the idea that we would travel more parts of the world and for an entire year.
Yeah,
That was before.
right. This is way before.
And for me, when we were just on our, vacation in Mexico and he shoved the camera in my face, we're just walking down the street and we're sweaty and funky. And he just shoves a camera in my face and he was like, hey guys, like that stereotypical corny opening, like, hey guys, here we are. And I just died laughing and was like, okay, I guess here we go.
Yeah, if you listen to the earlier episodes, like whenever we said hey guys, it was always tongue in cheek and like a joke, and it was really making fun of all the YouTubers doing that. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
I was kind of terrified when he showed me his edit. Like, he wasn't just filming us for us to like send to our families, which I thought that's all we were doing when he was shoving the camera piece. I was like, oh. And then he actually edited it, and then it was like, I want to put this on YouTube. And I watched it, and mind you, this was during COVID, and I had gained 20 pounds. And I'm watching it, and he, because he's sensitive and amazing, looked at me, and he can always sense my when there's something off with my energy. I won't say if it's like wrong or bad, just something a little off, right? Even sooner than I can. I might think I'm okay because I'm used to just powering through things, you know? And so he notices and he asks me, and which forces me to check in with myself. And he just looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" I didn't even know that I was off, like, but I'm watching and I'm looking at my arm, right? Like I'm looking at my arm, like, and saying to myself, my arms have never been that big, judging myself. And mind you, I'm a self-love coach, right? And but I had learned to love myself in the self. And also I wasn't putting myself out there like that, right? On camera for people to judge me. And I thought, if this is what you're doing, girl, you better just, you need to learn it right now. And here it is, baby, let it go. And that's what it is, right? It's a practice. It's not like we've mastered something immediately or else like we're dead. Typically, we're constantly practicing. It's a practice every day. So I'm looking at it, I'm looking at my arm, and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I said,
Yeah.
"Yeah." And he said, "Can I release it?" And I said, "Yeah." And that was the beginning. And, for me, like I said, super terrifying, but it's helped me to grow, like I feel like this whole is so cheesy, but like this whole YouTube thing has kind of changed our lives,
Yeah, it really
in this,
has.
like, just do it. And
Mhm.
who cares what anybody thinks or whatever, if it resonates with some people, this is great. And what we discovered was that we really, as people of color, that we wanted to inspire other people who looked like us to do these kinds of things, to like put yourself out there, to travel, like that it was available to us, even though we don't have tons of money. We can make this happen. We can do this on a budget. And then we just started feeling like we wanted to share that with other people. And so, yeah, that's what inspired and drove us to creating the YouTube channel.
To piggyback off what Carmen said, to show other Black people or people of color that it's cool to travel as well, and that these places aren't. It's a lot of propaganda as far as what they put out to the safety and how comfortable you can be in some of those places. But we just wanted to show that that's not true at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's beautiful. And I think, it's interesting because one of my questions was, where do you see yourself in making sure we're represented? And it really is so important just to see ourselves, right? Doing everything, So, tell me just for 2 seconds, like, what is the process of you all working together as a creative couple?
Well, I'll just start, and I think communication is key. Just learning how to communicate. Like, nobody taught us, right? Like, we grew up and we took all these classes in school. Why wasn't there a course on communication? Why wasn't there a course on learning how to listen?
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't there a course on learning how to love yourself? You know what I mean? We have really put in the work to lay a strong foundation in our relationship and to learn how to communicate, so that when we do run into those kind of bumps or roadblocks, like everybody does, that we can find our way through by communicating. And even if it feels uncomfortable, to like fight through that and to say, like, okay, I'm here and I want to hear what you have to say, because your opinion and your feelings matter to me, and express yourself. And he does the same for me. And so I feel like working together, whatever we're doing, it starts with that kind of communication.
And I would just follow up with that, as far as it's important to figure out what your strengths are. I learned early on. I was doing a lot of the filming, and Carmen's has a hell of an eye as far as photography. So towards the end, towards the end of this trip, I say like around November of this trip, I would just give her the GoPro to get all the B footage and all of the quote unquote beauty shots or what she thought was important for the location we were at. And I would just handle like the audio as far as the dialogue stuff. And then I just put together what we both caught in post. But you know, I was gladly gave her that responsibility because she's really good at it. And I'm not so good at that as far as like putting together a good frame. You think I'd be? I know a good frame when I see one. That's why I always hire VPs. But as a film director, but yeah, I was knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses, and being able to be honest with each other and like, okay, you do this good, I do this well, and we can put that together and it'll work.
Yeah. And now, even though, like, as we've been working together, and then as we've been putting kind of ourselves out there and figuring it out as we go, a lot of the comments, like even on YouTube, have been like, you know, we love you two. We love the two of you. We love the way you communicate with each other. We love your love. Can you share with us how, you know, you got to the place that you're at? And it's inspired us to create a workshop about like how to communicate with your partner or even just others in your life. You know, not learning how to not take things personally, how to not make assumptions, how to just really listen to one another, which is, you know, what I'm super blessed in having in him as a partner, is that he's such a beautiful listener, such a beautiful active listener. And I've never had that in a partner before, and it's helped me to feel even safer and fully self-expressing. So
I love
yeah.
that. I'm so excited. Yeah, so it kind of leads into my last question. It's just beautiful to me how two things, like one of your things has inspired other things. Like, you know, as creative people, I think it's just important to keep creating. And can you just talk about how maybe like you are inspired? It doesn't always have to be a film project. It doesn't always have to be production, like just getting that creative juice flowing and how that inspires other things.
Creativity to me, it's you know, it's just one body mass and there's different muscles. I have a filmmaking muscle, I have a writing muscle. I now have I guess a YouTube muscle or something, a reality muscle or whatever. But you know, sometimes you can't overwork your one muscle and neglect another. You know, so when the creative juices aren't flowing writing wise, I'll go edit it. You know, if they're not, if the edit's not flowing, then I'll study filmmaking, or I'll think about, you know, writing a treatment for another kind of project.
I also think, like, to piggyback off of what Terry said, and also your question, how kind of creativity begets creativity, is just like when we think about like the law of attraction and kind of what we put out there. It's like, I can't do something to get something if I don't already have something, right? It's like, I cannot go out and look for happiness. I have to be happy, and then more happiness will come to me. And so it's like, when you're doing the things that make you happy, you draw more things that make you happy into your life. And so it's the same thing with the creativity. When you're being creative, you're drawing more opportunities to be creative to you. And so don't sit around and wait for things to come to you while you're sitting cursing your life and talking about how crappy it all is. It's like, find things that make you happy and do them, and be happy and be grateful for all of those things, and then more of it comes to you.
Yeah.
Yo, dropping gems. Oh my God.
What she said.
Okay.